Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. I am really excited to share with you some of the tips and techniques and ways of being that will help you set up your week so that you can really feel like you are on your path, like you're in alignment with what you're creating. You feel productive, but you also feel grounded and present as you're really stepping into what you're wanting to create. So, I have just got off a call from my membership where we often do a Monday morning call or reminders about how to set our week up. You can also do this on a Sunday night before the week actually starts, getting really intentional about how to start your day on purpose. So, I really like to use this acronym called SLIP, and it's really how we slip into our week with ease and flow. And just before I created this recording, I did my own little ritual to prepare for it. And that's part of the flow that we're going to talk about today. So, if you are in my membership, you probably don't need to listen to this because we practice this on an ongoing basis to keep us on our path. But if you are here with me today and maybe you sometimes find yourself just opening up your laptop on a Monday morning and diving into that big list of emails that often we find on a Monday morning, and you're just suddenly tapping away and you haven't created your week with intention, and instead you've jumped straight into the doing, into the masculine, into the responding, into action, then I really encourage you to tune into this and look at a different way of doing things. So, the old paradigm tells us that to be productive and to create and to be worthy and of value, we have to do. And of course, there is some of that in there, but most of us have got way out of balance with our doing and our achieving and our action. And we have really left behind the space we need to create our week with more ease. And I think a lot of us desire that ease, but we can't get out of the program of needing to feel productive in the old way. So, where I want to start with this is this word slip, this acronym slip. And the first one, to really create your week with intention and on purpose, is to create the space for it. Okay. So, this will go against what most of our program is. Definitely for me, I would always be like, I don't have time for space, is probably an old belief that I have had. I don't have the time to waste on just creating space because I need to be productive, to be of value, to be worthy. So this is your first challenge, is to create some kind of sacred space before you start your work. And for some of you, you might feel like that happens on the Sunday night before, or for some of you, it might be the Monday morning, early in the morning, or it could be really creating that time for the first kind of 10 or 15 minutes of your work day. It doesn't really matter. It's really about what you're most likely to follow through on. So I got given this beautiful little ritual stool for my birthday from one of my dearest friends. And she also bought me this beautiful matcha powder and a whisk and just this invitation to ritual, really. And so before I started my day, I just did this little tea ceremony because she knows that I'm really into these, creating space through tea is something that I've really invited in over the last year. And so I just got myself to have that space, just to mix my tea, to have a mindful moment. This is definitely not part of my normal program. I just want to let you know, and just invited in the space of what it is that I am feeling right now, and just being in the moment of today before I race into responding mode or creating mode, and just slowing things down, because it's in the slowing down that we get these wonderful downloads, these insights, we get the clarity that we're seeking often in other places. And it's all within us, but we have to slow down to create the space. And the world that we live in right now, there's not a lot of space. Space is against us because we have this constant bombardment of information, of just go onto social media and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But often we're going to these external places to find the answers, to get clarity, whereas just a little bit of space can help you do that, because it's all in there. But most of us don't give ourselves a space. So before we create the space and just tune into ourselves. And then once we've done that, we can have a little bit more clarity about what we're feeling, maybe some of the things we've been feeling during the day or the week or the morning, and we get to acknowledge those. And the next thing that we do is bring in the L, which is the letting go, because whatever we're inviting in for the week, we need to make space for that. And to do that, we have to let go of maybe some energies that are no longer serving us, or maybe some thoughts about what our teenager said in the morning, or what our partner told us, or some thoughts we're having about ourselves of not achieving enough or feeling overwhelmed, or whatever that is for you. What is it that you need to let go of to make space for you to have this really aligned week? Okay. And might be forgiving yourself for something. It might be letting go of expectations. It might be letting go of these rules you put on yourself, maybe letting go of what everyone else needs of you, but giving yourself this time. So first of all is space. The second is to let go so we can create more space to live intentionally. So you might even write down, what is it that you're letting go of this week? Okay. And then we move into the I in the word slip. And this is the word that I use a lot, which is intention. And most of us just jump into our week. As I said, we're in responding mode, and we haven't set our intention that's going to ground us into how we want to feel, what we want to be, and what we want to create. Okay, so it's that thought that comes before action. It's the thought that we then put out there and change a frequency with. So before we start really tuning into what is my intention for this week. So for some of us, that intention can be a word that you want to embody throughout this week. It could be a feeling that you're wanting to feel this week. That could be your intention. It could be presence. For example, I want to feel present in what I do, or I want to feel more playful or more joyful, or I just want to feel really focused is my intention. And for some of you, that will be enough of an intention, that it's the feeling that you want to bring. And maybe you put it onto your computer screen, or put a post-it note onto the fridge, just being aware that that's your intention for the week. For some of you, your intention might be more on the goal end of things, where you have an intention to make a certain number of calls per week, or you have an intention to complete writing a chapter of your book, or putting a sales page out there, or whatever that intention is, that is maybe a little bit more grounded in action. Really, it's up to you. You can have a very feeling intention, or you can have an action intention, or you can have both, as long as you are creating your week with intention. And then we move into the P part of this word slip, slipping into your week. And the P is for planning. Okay, so this is where we have created the space to tap into that inner wisdom and to feel what it is that we want to bring in this week, and to get that clarity. We've let go of what's not serving us. We've set an intention, and now it's about how do we plan what we want to do. So again, stepping back more into the masculine, the doing and creating, which is also important. And the way that I do my planning, and I know this is very familiar for my members, is that either Sunday night or Monday morning, we do a really big download of all of the things that we want to do that are on our to-do list. And it's the only time in the week that we do this download. Okay. We don't write a list every day. We don't work off a really big long list. We only do it in this planning time, which is Sunday night or Monday morning. And here is all of the personal things, all of the work things, all of those people to email, everything gets written down into one master list. And that list is really what you are working from during your week, but you're not working from that whole list. You're only pulling in 3 things each day from that list to work on, because the brain loves small, easy steps, and it gets very overwhelmed with a big list of things to do. So if there's one takeaway, I would say from planning, it's focus on 3 things a day. If you get through those 3 things, then move to the next 2 things. And that way you're getting that dopamine and serotonin, that feeling of completion, like I've achieved something, whereas a big list to do just feels overwhelming and like we never can get there. So what I also recommend in this process is maybe looking at your big list and prioritizing those top 5 things. And they might also link to some of your bigger goals. So we don't want to just work on those urgent things that other people are demanding of us. We want to work on the important things that are moving us towards our goals and visions. So your list of priorities should be a mixture of those two. So once you have your master list and then you've prioritized it into the top 5 things for the week, I would then open up my calendar and I would schedule meetings with myself and block out time to really focus on achieving those important tasks. And those are the things that slip off into the background. But if we can keep consistently doing those each week, that's when we create mastery. If you do the same thing every day for 30 minutes, you will have mastery by the end of the year. Here, I'm just inviting you to make sure you're doing something that's from your important list, at least in your diary every week. What I often do is I will block out maybe an hour or 2 hours and do focus work on one particular area that I'm working on, whether it's a presentation or a workshop. And then that meeting can't get overridden by anyone else. When I open my calendar, it's there, it's non-negotiable. My brain doesn't sit in the place of going, oh, what should I do today? I don't know what I should be doing. It's already there because I've planned it out and mapped it out. And those 5 important things will get done during the week. And if there's other things that I can move through on my list, outside of that, I'll just only focus on the 3 most important things each day. So that's a little overview of how to create your week from balancing both the masculine, the doing, the yang energy, the creating, which we need, but also from the feminine, which is what can we receive? How can we slow down and get our own guidance and wisdom and soften into ourselves by creating this space and intention? So if this is of interest to you, please do like and subscribe. And if you think this might be helpful to someone else who is planning out their week, please share it on Instagram and tag me, and then I'd love to connect with you in some way. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and just remember you can tune back into this anytime on Sunday night or next Monday and really plan out your week with intention. Have a beautiful day.